Welcome to your Foundations Unit 5 study guide. This will be the Objective 1 video. Okay, this is the GCF objective, and everything that we do in this objective will involve taking out a GCF. Okay, so some key things that you need to know. If you have your calculator, you need to know the math function. Okay, if you hit the math button, it's the third button down on the left side of your calculator, the right arrow key, and then option 9, GCD. This will help you find the GCF. Another button to help you with this, you need to know, is the comma button, and it's located above the number 7. You can only enter 2 numbers at a time. For instance, if you were going to do this, you would do math right 9, and you would say GCD parentheses, and you would type 25, comma, 15, and then close your parentheses and press enter, and you'll get the number 5 down here on the side, because the greatest common factor of 25 and 15 is 5. So we'll take that 5 and we'll pull it out to the side, and then we'll look to see if they have any of the same letters. If you look at this particular one, you'll see that this has an X and this one has an X. So you'll write an X down, and then you'll look at the exponent and find the smallest exponent that you can find. And this one right here doesn't have an exponent, which is an understood 1, so that's what we'll take here. Now, what you're going to want to do from here is, since we have nothing else that we can take out, you want to divide everything else by the GCF. So 25 divided by 5 is 5. We have 2 x's, or x to the second power, and we're dividing that by x, which really means we subtract. So if you have 2 x's and you take away 1x, you have 1x left. Then we have a positive 15 divided by 5. Well, that's 3. And then we have 1x, and we take away 1x, so we have no x's left, and this becomes our final answer. Okay? Notice how we have a binomial in here, and there's no even power, and there's a plus sign, so there's nothing else you can do with a binomial. Anytime you see a binomial, you should think GCF first, and then you might want to look to see if there's a difference of squares or something like that. But in this case, there's a plus sign, which means there cannot be a difference. Difference means subtract. And there's no even power inside the parentheses, so there's nothing else we can do with this. This is the final answer. Okay? Looking at question number 2. The first thing you should notice is that there are 3 terms. Okay? The second thing you'll notice is that there's a lot of variables in here. 9 times out of 10, if you see a lot of variables, it's going to be a GCF only question. Okay? I say 9 times out of 10 because you may get the occasional one where all the letters factor out but 1, and you may have to do a trinomial factoring situation. But in this case, let's take a look and find out and see. So what number will go into 10, 16, and 6? Okay? Well, use the smaller number to be your guide. I know that 1, 2, 3, and 6 all multiply to give me a 6. So I'll see first the biggest number of 6. Will 6 go into 16 or 10? Nope. So 6 is out. Will 3 go into 16 or 10? Nope. 3's out. 2 does go into 16, and 2 does go into 10, so 2 would be the greatest number that goes into all 3 of these numbers. So I will pull a 2 out. Okay? If you were trying to do the GCD, like here, you would do the GCD, and you can only enter in 2 numbers at a time. So you would do 10 and comma 16, and then that would tell you 2. Then you would take this 2, do another GCD, type the 2 in, so this will become here, and then you would take the 6, Don't worry about negatives and positives. Just put the number in, and when you do the GCD of 2 and 6, you'll get 2 again. So 2 basically becomes our GCF. Okay? So now we're going to go through and we're going to look for the letters. Do they all have an A? Well, there's an A, there's an A. This one doesn't have an A, so we can't take out an A. They all have to have it. Okay? So then we look. Do they all have a B? Okay? So I've got a B here, I've got a B here, and I've got a B here. So I can take out a B. Okay? Now, you want to look at the exponent. There's 1 here, there's 2 here, and there's 2 here. The smallest one we have is this one, so that's what we would take. Okay? Then we look, do they all have a C? Nope, just these two. This one doesn't, so this is the only factor that we can take out, or only variable we can take out. Okay? So now, you're going to draw parentheses and write everything that would be left over if you divided this away. So, one thing, if you didn't like how I said it over here, is you can take your GCF and you can do the 2 and the B, the 2 and the B, and the 2 and the B, and write it underneath like you're dividing it, because that's essentially what you're doing. 10 divided by 2 is 5, or 2 times 5 is 10. That's another way to look at it. Did we take any A's away? No, we didn't. So the A that we had before comes down. B divided by B, well, that cancels out, or 1 minus 1 is none. So 5A is all we have left from the first term. 16 divided by 2 is 8, and it's going to be positive 8. We didn't take any A's away, so we have just as many A's as we started. So there was 2 A's here, so we have 2 A's left. We have 2 B's, and we got 1 on the bottom, so 2 minus 1 gives us 1, okay? And we don't need that 1, okay? Or, we have 2 B's, we pulled out a B, so we have 1 B left. And B times B is B squared, okay? We didn't take any C's out, so we still have the C that we had there. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. B squared over B is the same as B squared over B here. You have 2, you take away 1, so you have 1 left. And then we didn't touch any of the C's, so the C squared will come down, and you close your parentheses. Okay? And so, you look at this trinomial, we have a bunch of variables still left in there. There's not a whole lot else we can do. GCF is all we can take out, and that becomes your answer. Okay? So moving on to question 3. This one gets a little bit harder, okay? Because it's a word problem. And it's really not any harder. It's actually probably easier than the very first question that we did. Okay? It says the area of a rectangle. So I see area, I see rectangle, and then I have is this. Okay? What are the length and the width of the rectangle? Well, let's draw it out. I like to have a visual of what I'm doing. So I'm drawing me a rectangle. Okay? This would be my length. This would be my width. Okay? And so how do you find area? Well, remember, area equals the length times our width. Okay? So we have two things multiplied together to give us our area. Okay? So it's saying, what two things multiplied together to get this? Well, that essentially means we need to find the factors of this. Just like if I said the area is 6. Well, what two things multiply together to give you 6? Well, that's 2 times 3 is an option, or you could have went 1 times 6. Either one of those would give us give us 6. So we're just looking for the things that would multiply together to get us 6. Okay? Well, in this case, we're looking for the things that multiply together to get us this. Okay? So we're going to take our 10, our x, and our plus 5, and we're going to first, anytime you factor, you want to try to take out a GCF. And what goes into 10 and goes into 5? or what multiplies to give me a 10, and what multiplies to give me a 5? That's 5. Okay? Do they both have a letter? No, they don't. So you can't take out a letter, so you're done taking out a GCF. Now what is 10 divided by 5? That is 2. And then we didn't take out an x, so we bring down the x. What is 5 divided by 5? That is a positive 1. Okay, and then let's just double check to see if it multiplies back out. What is 5 times 2x? 10x. What is 5 times 1? 5. So notice how we have two things multiplied together. We have a 5 multiplied by a 2x plus 1. This is two factors. Okay? And this is arbitrary. If you want to find the length and the width, you can just say, okay, the length is going to be 5, and the width is going to be 2x plus 1. And so now you have your answer. And you could have flip-flopped it and said this one was 5 and this one was 2x plus 1. It doesn't matter. All you needed to know was what were the two things that we multiplied together. Okay? So see how this really, even though it had words in it, was just like number 1. Okay, let's look at question number 4. Okay? What is the perimeter of the rectangle that has an area of this? So now they throw in two concepts here. It's very similar to what we had in the previous question, but it now asks us for the perimeter. So we got to kind of set this up. First, we need to know what our length and our width are. Because if we know that, then we can find the perimeter. Okay? Well, in order to find the length and the width, they give us the area. Okay? Just like in the previous question, area, remember, equals the length times the width. Okay? So we need the two things that multiplied together to get us the area. So let's do that first. We'll take this 7x plus 14, and we'll figure out what multiplied together to get us 7x plus 14. Okay, well, what goes into 7 and goes into 14? A 7. Do they both have a letter? No, they don't. So we're done with the letters, and means we're done taking the GCF. Okay? So now, 7 divided by 7 is 1, and then the x comes down, so you have just 1x, which is right here. 14 divided by 7 is positive 2. That comes down, and then let's just double check. What's 7 times x? 7x. What's 7 times 2? 14. So we have our two factors. Let's just make this one the length, and this one the width. Okay? Now this is not what the question asked. This just tells us what the length and the width are. The question actually asks, what is the perimeter, okay, of the rectangle? So let's draw the rectangle again. Okay? And so we have a length and we have a width right here. And remember, this is going to be 7. This one's going to be x plus 2. And perimeter is when you add all sides. Okay? Add all the sides. So this is 7, so what must this one be? 7. X plus 2 over here, well, this is the same length, so this is going to be x plus 2 as well. Okay? So now we go to add them up. Well, we tried the x's first. X plus x, 2x. So let me write perimeter right here. Okay? So we have x plus x, which is 2x. And then we have 2 plus 7 is 9. 9 plus 2. Right, let's do this. 2 plus 7 plus 2 plus 7. So we have 2 plus 7 plus 2 plus 7. So that gives me 9 plus 2 plus 7, which is 11 plus 7, which is 18. So you get 2x plus 18. Okay? And that becomes my perimeter, and that's what the question's asking for. Okay? That concludes Objective 1. Please move forward to Objective 2.